So here is a woman who's battling alopecia, lost her hair, and a comedian comes out, and albeit he's a comedian and comedians should be funny, making a joke about her hair loss. And I threw out earlier this morning, I go, if she lost her hair from cancer, would we still be laughing? Because alopecia is a disease just like cancer is. But
well, you say still be laughing.
Would we still think that it was
because I don't think the Jada G.I. Joe or G.I. Jane joke was funny. I just don't think
it didn't require
you don't
what
hit
took
people
place.
over it. Right.
I said this. I'm not a huge Will Smith nor Chris Rock fan. They're both okay to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not picking Will Smith's side because of this.
Yeah.
I wish I had the courage to get up on stage to
protect
protect my family like he did. I thought what he did was protecting his family.
It's interesting that there are so many opinions. One of my very good girlfriends texted me this morning because she knew we were going to be talking about it, and she wanted to give her opinion. She's a teacher. She's already in class, and she couldn't call, but she said, we have enough people putting women down every day. And she said, because it dealt with an illness, it wasn't a joke. That was harassment, in my opinion, what Chris Rock said about Jada. So there's so many different perspectives in terms of how people are looking at it when you break it down.
But do we fight back for respect? Do we say, I want violence for respect?
Mm-hmm.
That's, I don't know. It's so frustrating because I feel like we're just showing, especially children, when you hear something that you don't like, it's okay to hit them.
I just think this. I think that in my years of being married, there have been moments where I wish I would have stuck up for my wife, not physically, but also verbally, in situations that she had been put down by certain people. And then when I saw him go and do that thing, listen, if you went up there and said, hey, buddy, my wife has alopecia. If you got in the microphone and said, my wife has alopecia and she's been battling this right now, and that joke wasn't funny, it'd be a world of difference. Obviously, the world would have looked at Chris Rock like he was the biggest dick in the world.
Yeah.
But what we're not seeing too is the struggle and heartache that they're having at home that she's going through that none of us see because she's losing her hair and she's maybe crying all the time and he's there to console her. So we don't see any of that. Yeah. I'm not saying what he did was right at all, and I agree with you 100%, Mojo. That I wish there was a time where Allie was we were at a bar and some guy walked up to her and said something ridiculous, and I had to walk up and try to say something, and he wanted to fight me, but he was like 10 times bigger than me. There's no way I was going to fight this guy, and I'm not a fighter anyways. But I wish, just the same as you had just said, Mojo. I wish I could do something like that, but I don't think you ever should do something.
But in regards to what Mojo just said, Will Smith has a different option. He was getting the mic. He has the chance to equally put Chris Rock in his place without the violence, because what you don't want is every time a comedian says an insult or a jab, which they do all the time. I mean, geez, we love Ricky Gervais is so cutting when he's up on that stage. He makes fun of every celebrity in that room. You don't want someone to be able to be empowered, or like next week's the Grammys. Do you want anyone to answer to every rap diss track and go up and start violence because they don't agree with what you said? It's a slippery slope of bringing up violence into defending your wife. I
don't know all of Ricky Gervais's jokes, and I don't know if Ricky Gervais would joke about a woman's hair.
Ricky Gervais joked about people being pedophiles. That man has no lines.
Well, were they pedophiles?
I mean, probably some of them.
Yeah. Here's the joke, by the way, that Jada took offense to at the last award show that Chris Rock was at.
Jada's gonna boycott the Oscars. Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
I guess she was upset about that joke, which seemed kind of harmless and funny. But what's up, Renee?
Hi. I have alopecia myself, and I think what Chris Rock said was just as violent as Will Smith's actions back.
It hit you personally, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. I was pretty upset about that, and I'm really glad that Will stood up for his wife.
Can I tell you that my best female friend in the world has battled with alopecia? She lost all of her hair a couple decades ago. And to know what Chris Rock said to Jada, I didn't know that she had alopecia when I first saw it.
And we can't assume Chris Rock knew either.
Yeah, and when I first saw that, I thought, oh, Will's being crazy. But then when I found out that she has alopecia, it completely changed because, man, the defense came on of how could you do this? So for those that don't know, alopecia is, and you can explain it to the listeners about what you're going through.
So alopecia, I have alopecia areata, but all types of alopecia is your immune system. It's an autoimmune disease, and your hair follicles get attacked by your blood cells, basically. So your body is thinking that your hair follicles are a foreign object, and there is no cure for it right now. There's like treatments you can do, but there is no cure. So it is a little traumatizing.
Are you completely bald, or do you have a little bit of hair?
So I have alopecia areata, so I get the circle pattern on my head. So I'm not 100% bald. I have huge, large bald spots that are like in a circle pattern, so it's not pretty.
Yeah. Thank you for calling. I appreciate your comment. Lee disagrees, though. Lee says what Will Smith did was unacceptable.
Yes, it was really unacceptable because, first of all, if you watched what when Chris Rock was saying it to her, Will Smith was laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until she looked over at him, and then he went up there, and Chris Rock was referring to a movie she was in. He wasn't referring to the fact that she had any disease and she's cut her hair short many times, and for the black community to they're always fighting for their rights and to be equal and to they're not as violent as everyone says, and then to go do something like that was just unacceptable. And I think I agreed with what you said earlier. If Will Smith would have went up there and got on the mic and said, "Hey, this is what's going on," or talk to him backstage, versus putting
you think
that
this
out
is a
in front of
racial thing, though? I don't know if I would put race into this.
No, I don't think it's a racial thing. But I think when they're always fighting for equality and fighting for the fact that to scream out how they're not, there's not more violence in that community, it was just ridiculous to go up and smack someone in front of everybody like that at a classy show. It was unacceptable.
See, I don't look at what your comments were as that. But I think saying they and that, fighting for equality and stuff. I didn't see a black-white situation here. Matter of fact, there are two black men. Mm-hmm. I think that this is violence. Was violence called for in trying to stick up for your significant other? And I think that when he laughed, I think that it was the uncomfortable laugh. He looked at his wife. When he saw his wife did not look happy, that's when I think the moment changed for him. I've been in that situation before.
Well, and he's got cameras on him. So, he has to, his only response is to laugh, and then, her response wasn't that.
Marlene, what do you think?
I think that last call, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, I know.
But I think, that Will Smith was out of line. He could have waited till afterwards, checked Chris, had Chris do some kind of public apology. Maybe Chris didn't know that she's suffering from this. And it's horrible that she's going through it. Yeah. But why does nobody know? There's so many fans. We know who you're giving your yoo-ha to, but we don't know that you have this alopecia. So how is he supposed to know?
Yeah, I do. I give that. I definitely give that. But Shannon's going to talk a little later this morning about that particular joke and the Academy with that joke. So
Chris, and he was so upset when he found out about the affair with the little young boy. He did nothing. But the joke that he laughed at, he got upset with. And it might have been staged. We don't know because...
Which affair are you talking about? Explain that to me.
When they were having that, how the meme came about where he was crying and she was sleeping with the little young boy.
August.
At the round table.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't fight that young man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he was crying. So I don't know.
By the way,
we also later learned that he was aware of that relationship, so we can't really refer to it as an affair. Remember, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
It was an open relationship. Mm-hmm. By the way, was Jada in G.I. Jane? Because
no.
I didn't think she was.
That movie came out 25 years ago. Demi Moore.
Yeah.
That was just why it was such a lame joke. It was like, well, that's not. It's the only bald head joke you could think of, and so I don't think he knew that she was battling this. And
I go back to what Shannon said about the appearance thing, about putting a woman down for her appearance. I don't know if you just don't joke about
Well,
that.
a lot. I mean, the overall sentiment, our text messages are blowing up. Poor Ellen, cannot keep up with all the texts and calling people back. But I feel like a lot of people are saying, it is awesome, and people, men and women, should protect their family. There was a better way to do it.
Yeah. Sam, comment from you, and then I got to move on.
Yeah, first of all, I just had to make a quick comment about that race comment. I don't think this has anything to do with race.
Nothing at all.
No.
I pointed that out. But yeah, so I was a young cancer patient for the last 2 years and lost my hair twice. And there were so many bald comments that I had to deal with. But one time I was at a restaurant with my husband, and the waiter referred to both of us as gentlemen, which was fine. I can understand a mistake. But then I would speak, and I can clearly sound like a woman, and he continued to call me sir. And my husband just kept getting more and more angry. So we ended up just getting up and leaving. So I told him, it's totally not worth it. But it was almost like, are you trying to offend me? Because if you can't tell how I identify, maybe just don't refer to me as sir.
How would you have felt if your husband got up and smacked the spit out of that guy?
I mean, maybe right in the second I would have been like, I think it was good enough that I could tell that he was offended that I was being disrespected. Yeah. I think if he would have got up and hit him, I would have been like, okay, well, that didn't make me feel better.
Yeah.
And that's what Ellen said at the beginning of the show. She would have been more embarrassed if her man got up and started a fight over her. You want to feel defended and feel seen, but you don't want a scene being made about you.
I'd love to know what Jada thought. I mean, you guys, we were kind of split on this one. I thought Jada probably gave him the best loving that night. You guys thought that she was probably embarrassed by the whole situation. I don't know. It'd be interesting. All right.
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell.
So, by the way, this is hot topic of the day, Reese. This is. We have this all over social. Everybody commenting.
About to throw it up right now.
I love you. Actually, you put it up last night. You put the video up. We were first to have the video on.
I threw a TikTok up.
Let's do this, by the way. Put this up as a comment too. Ask the people, ask the listeners on social, do they think it was real or fake? Because I've seen that poll.
I don't know how you have any doubt now. At first everybody might have thought it was staged because he walked up, and I think even Chris Rock thought, "Oh, this is funny. This is going to be an act." And then I think it took a real serious.
And you have to remember the LAPD is involved, right?
Right.
So,
but it seems very like the award he was accepting was very, very close to this. What happened in this situation? If you watch the slow motion, Chris Rock's head moves before he even swings at him.
If you watch Chris Rock afterwards, he was stunned. He didn't even know what to say. He was stuttering.
See, I think Chris Rock was so composed. I was shocked at how composed.
Yeah,
he
well,
was.
But
comedians.
if you think it's staged, who did that benefit?
Right.
How is it good for his career, good for the night, good for anything? And if you watch the unedited version, which is streamed everywhere, where you can watch the full altercation without the dumps in it, that is raw emotion and angry men.
Mm-hmm. The rumor is Will Smith's going to do another boxing movie. It's going to come out after this whole thing's said and done. He'll put it together. I don't know if I heard that, by the way. Twitter just gave that to me, by the way. Just a second ago. Megan.
Oh,
I fake laugh at your stuff. You don't ever fake laugh at my stuff.